Hey everybody, this is Laith Marouf from Free Palestine TV. We are in Bahr al-Baydar at the top, a flat part of Mount Lebanon. After we drove for an hour from Beirut, we're heading down to the Beqa' Valley from here. And then we're gonna try to go all the way to the north of the Beqa' Valley to the Hermel area on the border with Syria. The reason we're going is because the HTS Wahhabi death squads have been attacking Lebanese villages inside Syria in the north part and attempted to enter Lebanon proper over the last week. There's been armed fights between these terrorists and the local residents, the tribal councils of the Hermel area that have been fighting back these terrorists and have even entered some of these Lebanese villages inside Syria to defend the Shia and Lebanese population there, and succeeded in defeating the special forces of the HTS. We're gonna head there now. It's gonna take us a little bit, around 2 hours to reach the border with Syria in the north. Let's take you with us on this trip and see what's happening there. We are in Hosh Al Sayyid Ali, and we're heading towards Al Qasr, a border town on the northern border of Lebanon with Syria. We're heading to check out on the clashes between the local residents of Al Qasr and the Hermel area with the HTS terrorists that have been attempting to enter and occupy these villages after they had already ethnically cleansed the Shia Lebanese villages on the Syrian side. There is a few villages that fell after the World War I into the what became Syria, but are occupied, or the residents of those villages are Lebanese, and many of the families in these villages that we're passing right now have lands on both sides of the border. They have been attacked by HTS over the last week, and attempts to expel them and take their belongings and lands by HTS. So the residents are defending themselves and have been calling on the Lebanese military to come to their defense. And since the morning, this hasn't happened yet. We're going to go and check on the Lebanese military and the situation of the families here in Al Qasr. We're going to go there right now. We're right now on the Syrian border. You can hear the gunfire. Just there, across the street, is Syria. I'm standing on an abandoned structure. Luckily, there's some light. We can film ourselves. But the fighting is ongoing. Right there, there's you heard it? There's a Lebanese checkpoint right there, and the border crossing. Ongoing fire. The battle continues. The Lebanese military seems to be finally responding to the calls of the locals to come to the aid of the clans and defend their land and homes. We keep on seeing back and forth movement of Lebanese military and the clan fighters and the gunfire non-stop. We're gonna get in the car and move before somebody notices. There's been also drones. Haven't heard one yet, but there's been many drones shot down over the day, as I informed you earlier, at least 4 drones. I'll get in the car now. After the local clan forces defeated HTS and expelled them from the Lebanese villages that they occupied on both sides of the border of Syria and Lebanon, the Israeli Air Force conducted air raids hitting the gathering points of the local clan forces, which led to the injury of some of these fighters, but luckily no martyrs. We went and visited Ali Mourad, a journalist and analyst who is from the region of North Beqa, to give us more details about this issue. Ali Mourad, thank you very much for having us. 2 quick questions. One is the importance of the area in the north of Lebanon, these villages that we saw the fighting between HTS terrorists and the local clans. Why these villages have been a flashpoint? What makes them such a flashpoint historically?
Well, it goes back to the Sykes-Picot treaty between France and Britain when they drew the borderline between Syria and Lebanon. And after 1920, when Lebanon was established, the Lebanese governments, during the mandate, the French mandate, and of course later on after the so-called independence, they failed to address the issue of the community there, because actually it's one community. They live in the Lebanese side and as well as the Syrian side. They are family, they live together, and actually they used to live in harmony until the revolution that took place in Syria. By then, we saw clashes, sectarian clashes. The HTS and the other militants backed by NATO, they came after the community there because they are Shia, and the majority surrounding them is Sunni. So they used this sectarian division, which never existed before this, to, of course, attack them, their villages, their businesses, and they were obliged to. They had to move on to the Lebanese side until Hezbollah came in to defend those people and this community, and this led to Al Qusayr battle.
Over the last week, we saw HTS attack those villages again inside Syrian territory that have Lebanese civilians that own the land, and these are their villages. And they ethnically cleansed the Lebanese population, pushed it into Lebanese territory. And then, since the Lebanese army didn't defend them and practically withdrew from the area, we saw the HTS actually enter into Lebanese villages inside Lebanon proper. And that's when the tribal forces, the clan forces, defended their populations and eventually pushed into Syria and liberated those villages also. Yesterday, we saw the Israeli Air Force attack the gathering points where the clan forces around that area were converging in. Why do you think Israel is attacking at the same time as HTS is attacking in the north of Lebanon? And how does this relate to any strategy to surround Hezbollah or the resistance in Lebanon?
Well, actually, it's well known that during the 66 days war, at the beginning of the war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu was talking about cutting the land route from Syria into Lebanon that aids the Islamic resistance Hezbollah in Lebanon. Later on, he stopped talking about this. Later on, of course, we knew hours after the ceasefire agreement that something was carried out in Syria, and eventually, within 10 days, the regime fell. So I think the new authorities in Damascus, they are keen to tell the Americans in the first place that they are committed to fulfill their target by blocking the land route that might be a route for smuggling weapons and arms to the Islamic resistance Hezbollah inside Lebanon. The Israelis were watching from top, and of course they saw that the battle between the tribal forces and HTS terrorists from the other side was not in the gains of the Syrians, the new Syrian authorities. So maybe that made them to come intervene in this scene and try to attack the tribal forces. Of course, they are telling and spreading lies by claiming that they attacked a tunnel for weapons smuggling. It's not true. I think they are trying to send a message that they are going to be supportive to HTS militants in trying to fulfill this target by blocking the borders, the entire borders, so that no arms or weapons might be infiltrating from Syria. And of course, we are talking here about arms depots that used to be managed by Hezbollah inside Syria. So actually, if any arms or weapons would be smuggled from Syria into Lebanon, it would be Hezbollah's arms, Hezbollah's own weapons. So it's complicated. I think Ahmad al-Shara, Abu Muhammad al-Julani, he is eager so that the Americans would change their minds, so that the sanctions would be removed from Damascus against Damascus, and maybe this way he is trying to prove that he is following through what the Americans want by trying to make something by force. He is trying to fulfill the target that the Americans want from him.
We just visited a few families in the zone here. We sat down with members of the clans of the area, and we spoke to them about their plight. We heard, of course, that the HTS terrorists have kidnapped two Lebanese citizens that are in their own land, but on the Syrian side. Because again, there is multiple Lebanese villages that fall behind the Syrian border after the French occupation. And the clans here decided to defend themselves and defend their land because of the absence of the Lebanese military coming to their defense. And these locals from the clans carried arms. These arms, by the way, were purchased from these HTS terrorists over the last month since the fall of the Syrian government to HTS. HTS terrorists looted the warehouses of the Syrian military and were selling the weapons on the black market. So we saw these weapons now being carried by the clans here in the north of Lebanon, including Cornet anti-tank missiles that were from the caches of the Syrian military. And those Cornet missiles were used today to take out three tanks. HTS lost two tanks in the battle since the morning and at least four drones. We saw some videos of the drones being shot down by the clan fighters. And now, over the last few hours, the clans liberated two villages, Matraba and Al Jarmish, and they are continuing their fight to liberate any villages that have been taken by the HTS. None of the villages on the Lebanese side now are occupied. Only the Lebanese villages that are on the side of Syria that are occupied. And we heard calls by the local clans for the Lebanese military to come now and set up its embankments to protect the Lebanese villages on the Lebanese side that have been liberated by the clans. So we're heading home after a very long day driving to the northernmost border of Lebanon with Syria. Hadi, there was a lot of propaganda out there from the pro-Israeli house slaves of Lebanon against the people in the north of Lebanon defending their land.
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of the Western audience doesn't know because they can't read the Arabic. What was some of these house slaves talking about the tribes and the clans in the north?
Usually there is lots of discrimination against the people of the rural areas in Lebanon, because historically the people of the center were always the people who were ruling Lebanon. So you can always hear these types of this stereotyping of the people of the rural areas, especially the people of the borders in the Beqa' Valley. They are always accused to be by the people of the center and by the people of the historic Mount Lebanon, some of them, of course, who are mostly right-wings. They accuse them of being drug dealers or people who only work with smuggling and illegal stuff. This is how they usually stereotype them. And now, imagine that despite the fact that they are fighting HTS and they are fighting basically a new brand of Al-Nusra Front, who were designated as terrorist group by the Europeans and by the Americans, and of course these Lebanese we're talking about are, as you mentioned, they are just an echo for what is stated by France, by UK, by the US. So imagine, despite this, they are still willing to stereotype them as the evil guys who are only drug dealers, and now HTS are the good guys who are making sure that these drug dealers stop their drug trade and smuggling, because HTS want to control the borders for the goodness of the people in Syria.
So
this is the most ridiculous narrative that you can come up with to describe what's happening there. And although we went today, it was a very long drive, and we were stuck in an unexpected traffic. We have been driving for at least 8 hours now, but I'm still very happy that we reached. This is maybe the most far area we reached during our drivings, here in Lebanon since many months. But at least we were able to reach that place. We were able to meet people. We met many people. We sat with them. We discussed what's happening with them. We were able to know the real narrative of the people. We were able to meet them. They were asking the Lebanese army to come and defend them. They were asking the Lebanese army to come and do their job there, to control the borders and to repel the attacks of HTS and of other Shishani and Uzbekistani militias who are not border control guards. They are, they are the last people who can come and tell the people of this area what they should do and how they should act. Especially that these people, we met Lebanese people who had Syrian, also Syrian nationality and Lebanese nationality, and they had lands on both sides of the border. We met this guy who was saying, "I'm Syrian." He was sitting in Lebanon. He was carrying a weapon, and he was defending Lebanese land because he was Syrian, and he was kicked out of his land and his family house by HTS members. And he was saying like, okay, I am Syrian and he's a Lebanese. And I must be protected by the new Syrian government. Not they shouldn't have been fighting me and kicking me out outside my house with his family.
So some of the viewers don't know, but obviously HTS was designated as a terrorist organization by the Lebanese government because HTS attacked Lebanese territory a long time ago and killed
They killed
Lebanese
Lebanese
soldiers and sent these bombs and cars into Beirut
Well,
and
only
other places.
today they attacked the main Lebanese army military base in Hermel, and at least 4 to 5 soldiers were injured and taken to hospital. And I'm not sure if anyone, we didn't follow up with the injuries if they were severe or not. But what we know is that they did attack a Lebanese military base, the main military base in Hermel. I think it's either with artillery shells or with drones, because today they were for the first time using kamikaze drones to attack the Lebanese side, and we have seen at least some of the Lebanese,
The tribal forces.
tribal forces who are defending their lands. They were able to down at least four to five drones. But maybe some of these drones are the ones who hit the Lebanese army barracks, and this happened only today. So yeah, you don't need to go to history to know how much these guys are just criminals, and they don't want the Lebanese army actually to take control of the borders. They want to gain more land. They want to conquer more lands. If those people, our guys there who we were with right now, if they were not defending their lands, what would have stopped HTS from taking the main hills on the area and being able by taking the main hills and the main high points, elevated points in the area, they will be able to dominate the whole area with machine guns, with artilleries. This is I think what their plan is right now, and this is what the people of that area are trying to make sure that it won't happen, because this will mean that more lands will be lost, and even if HTS were not able to go to these villages, but when they take the high hills in the area, and you have seen how the areas there have a very special geography. When you take a high and elevated point, the whole valley will be accessible for direct weapons. It will be targeted easily by heavy machine guns or by artillery shells or by anything else. So they need, the people of that area need to defend the hills and make sure that HTS does not take those hills, because if they conquered them, they will gain a lot more than just few hills. But the whole area will be under their mercy, out of their firepower. Yes.
Well, this was an eye-opening visit. We saw a lot, and we showed now our viewers things that have...
I was surprised. No press team was there.
Yes.
No one is covering this. No one is there.
That's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying
not
to...
even Lebanese.
No Lebanese media, no television stations, nothing. Not in Arabic, not in English, not in any other language. And this is what we're trying to do in Free Palestine TV. We're trying to give access to the viewers to the seldomly covered stories, whether it's inside Palestine, as you see from the coverage of the interviews that we're doing with all the released hostages, Palestinian hostages, and or what we've been doing here since the beginning of our coverage in Lebanon, going to the field and giving you the actual stories, not only giving opinions and or analysis, but showing you the facts on the ground in English. So please visit our website, freepalestine.video, donate, subscribe to monthly donations, and subscribe to all our social media platforms. Until we meet you again, we wish you all a free Palestine.